Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 27.3k subscribers. Could we get to 28k by the end of the month? Please like this video down below and subscribe down below before we get started. But today we're going to be talking about the potential for a brokered convention in the Democrat primary, assessing the prospects for a brokered convention. This was an article that came out today on RCP that talked about the potential of a brokered convention becoming more possible as the days go on, as the Democrats are further in disarray and who could emerge from it. We'll talk about that as well. It talks about Ted Cruz and Kasich suspending their campaigns in May when Trump had collected 40.2% of the primary votes. Technically, this basically gave the nomination to Trump. They could have technically tried to stop him. They probably wouldn't have by the end of the day because of the candidates, because of the primaries that took place afterwards included states where Trump would have done well enough to get over 50%, but they technically could have stopped him and they ended their campaigns anyway, so he got his plurality, he got that votes when he got the delegates of the RNC. However, the Democrats have so many candidates running that this might not even be the case when it's all said and done. So apparently, there are two types of delegates in the Democrat primary. Unlike the Republican primary, they have statewide delegates who's awarded based on the results in a state, and local delegates which are awarded on the basis of congressional district, county, or state legislative district results. We saw this happen in the state of Iowa and a little bit differently in the state of New Hampshire, so it really depends. So there are different delegate rules, and this could potentially lead to a brokered convention, especially as the statewide winners are technically going to be a little bit different. The statewide winners actually are getting very, very limited delegates. We could see a very, very diverse map, especially after Super Tuesday. Different candidates winning different states, and potentially if candidates win a whole lot of states, like Bernie Sanders was projected to win, I think, every single state in the predicted betting odds, but still was not projected to have enough delegates to be able to contend and to be able to actually end up winning the primary. So it's kind of ironic in that front. It says delegates are awarded proportionally to individuals obtaining at least 15%. So there is actually no winner-take-all states. If you look back at the RNC, they tried to change the rule to stop Trump. They couldn't do it in time. Florida was a winner-take-all state. Trump was able to win it with 40% of the vote. He got 99 delegates. Same thing in Texas. I think the delegate threshold was very high, but at the same time, it's always 15% in the Democrat primary, and that's going to be huge ahead of Super Tuesday. That's going to be huge moving forward. And by the way, at the end of Super Tuesday, I think we're going to have almost 40% of the delegates already counted. So by the end of 3 weeks from now, we'll have a very good picture or a very unclear picture, but I think we'll have a good picture of whether it's going to go to a contested convention or not going to a contested convention. Personally, right now, I think there's a very good chance we actually could go to a contested convention and chaos will ensue. That I can tell you for sure right now. It's going to be very, very chaotic if we go to a contested convention. It also says about 35% of delegates are awarded at the state level and about 65% are awarded at the local level. That is also different from the RNC's rules. And it talks about how you have so many candidates in the race. You had such a big field and you have so many candidates that think they're viable and so many candidates that are staying in, whether they should stay in or whether they should not stay in. They are still staying in, and that is going to be very vital moving forward, especially to their chances. I personally don't think that very many of them are viable. However, a lot of people in the DNC, we've seen paperwork out of the DNC that show Michael Bloomberg is the guy because Biden's falling. They actually want Bloomberg, and Bloomberg has the deep pockets to the point where he's going to be able to buy his way to the nomination. Can he buy his way to beat Donald Trump, especially after the Bernie bros betray him? Some people are saying this could be a total, utter landslide. So this is something that we're going to analyze here today, because there was a poll out of the swing counties. I think they're all the swing counties that were decided within 10%. Donald Trump had a +8 approval rating in these counties. Michael Bloomberg had a -26 or so. Now, you can't take this into full consideration because there probably were some counties, swing counties, that probably leaned a little bit more in favorable of Trump in terms of the margin. So obviously, I don't think that Trump's approval is necessarily +8 nationwide. However, it is vital moving forward because Obama's approval in the swing counties was high. Now, Trump's approval in the swing counties is high. Trump's approval among Romney Clinton voters is very, I guess you would say, it's low, but Michael Bloomberg and Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders also have a very low approval rating among those voters as well. And Trump's approval among Romney other voters is actually very, very high moving forward. So you have a lot of disillusioned Democrats, whereas Trump is still doing well, has a lot of accomplishments to tout with the economy, and will very well move forward and into victory here against Bloomberg. So I wanted to fill out this map and take some time to predict Donald Trump versus Michael Bloomberg, because so many people have talked about the fact that I should be doing a Trump-Bloomberg prediction, and a lot of people have said, what's going to happen if we go to a contested convention? Well, I'm not necessarily sure of the whole process yet, but it would be brutal. You would see a lot of Bernie people start rioting, like the campaign aide said in the Project Veritas video. Well, if that's representative of the whole campaign or not, that's beside the point. You have a lot of people that were rioting. Back in Philadelphia in 2016, you had people rioting. That was not actually a brokered convention. At a contested brokered convention, this would be big. This would be even more brutal than before. So without further ado, I think it's best that we'll actually start for once and for all and fill out this Donald Trump versus Michael Bloomberg map. And I'm actually not going to underestimate Bloomberg here. I was going to potentially make this a landslide, but Bloomberg will find a way to spend his way to a decent amount of electoral votes where he otherwise would just get destroyed by Trump. I think Trump will destroy him at the debates. I don't think he's a very strong debater. I don't even think he's nearly as strong of a candidate as even Hillary Clinton was. He's got a negative net favorable rating nationwide among all voters, and that is something that will really doom him in the long term. So California obviously is going to go to Bloomberg. Same thing with Hawaii, New York, and I think Vermont. Even though Bernie will have a big write-in campaign, Trump could flip another county or two in Vermont. Massachusetts will also go to Bloomberg. The state of Maryland will go to Bloomberg, as well as D.C. in the safe column. Those are the states I think we're going to mainly put in the safe column. Also, Washington State will also go safe, as well as the state of Illinois. Now, you have these 4 states here, and I call Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Delaware potential swing states in the future. Maybe not in this election. However, Delaware could get close, and Bernie bros are going to stay home. I definitely think that that's going to lower Democrat turnout overall. But I do think that Trump could hammer Bloomberg on the New York mayor thing, and that could hurt him in New Jersey. I'm going to still put New Jersey as safe. I do think that Delaware is going to be likely. I definitely think Connecticut's going to be safe, and Rhode Island's a state that I'm going to put in the safe column, but very narrowly safe. It does have a trend to it, plus 12 to the Republican side, but are Republicans getting close to maxed out for now in the non-Providence area? That's another question I have to ask. Maine's 1st district is going to go for Bloomberg as well in the safe column. And that's enough for the safe Dem states and the almost safe Dem states. Let's fill out these safe Republican states here while we're at it. The Mormon Belt, obviously. Trump is polling very highly in Utah. Even if you do have some Mormon guy challenger, it's not really going to have an impact. I apologize, it just won't. Alaska is a state that's going to go to Trump. Again, Hillary couldn't even break 35% there. A lot of third-party voters there, but a lot of those voters are going to flock to Trump. Similar thing in the state of Montana, the Dakotas, Nebraska, except the 2nd district, which we'll come back to. Kansas, there was a poll there. It had Trump up by 12, but it's apparently the same poll that had Hillary Clinton losing to Trump by 6, like a few months away from the election. I wouldn't read too much into it. Trump is going to win that state, and Chris Kobach will win the Senate narrowly, but he'll still win it as Trump wins the state big. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, some of these states becoming the strongest Republican states in the nation across Appalachia. Alabama, where Doug Jones is toast. Mississippi, Missouri, which was formerly a bellwether. It's not a bellwether anymore. South Carolina, and the state of Indiana, as well as Maine's 2nd district actually going to Donald Trump in the safe column. So I think that's enough of the safe states here to analyze, because we do have a lot of swing states, and all these states here are swing states. We're going to call these swing states east to west, kind of as they would be on election night, because I could actually potentially see this being the election night final, like total analysis. When you look at the map, it'll show Bloomberg up 176 to 120. I actually do believe that Texas will be called before then, so we'll actually do the likely R states first. Texas is going to be likely red. Again, the Republicans did very well in that bellwether district. Trump fans are hyped. Bloomberg has a lot of money to spend, and it could make Texas a little bit more competitive than it should be. I still think Trump's going to win this state by over 5 points for sure, maybe over 7 points. Even if Bloomberg decides to put Mark Cuban on the ticket, as so many people have foolishly suggested, I don't see it. Bloomberg's going to be viewed as a New York elitist, and it hurt Trump in Texas being a New York elitist in some people's view. But Bloomberg, he's a Democrat and a New York elitist. That's not going to play over very well in Texas. So he might do better than Bernie. He might do maybe even a little better than Biden, but he's not going to be able to beat Trump. And the Bernie bros, they will stay home even in Texas. They might not be super vocal in the Texas Democrat Party, but in places like Austin, some places surrounding there, maybe in a couple places here in Dallas and Houston here and there, the Bernie bros will add up in number. Youth turnout's already down in the primary. In the general election, it's going to doom Dems. So moving forward, Virginia is a state here. I'm going to give this to Bloomberg likely. Now, Trump would have a shot against Bernie Sanders, but Bloomberg has that elitist Nova appeal that's going to turn out the voters in Nova. And you have a lot of angry Republican voters in the rest of the state that could turn out, maybe make it instead of like a 10-point win for Dems, maybe it's going to be a 6-point win because the Dems are kind of screwing themselves with the gun thing, but it's not going to make enough of a difference. So Bloomberg is still going to win the state of Virginia. As for the state of New Hampshire, I actually think Donald Trump is going to win. Trump's promises have worked for the Rust Belt. New Hampshire is not really a Rust Belt state, but you could consider it in that column. I definitely think that New Hampshire and Maine at large are going to go to Trump, especially because the Bernie bros going to stay home. They're not going to like Michael Bloomberg. He only got like 2% write-in vote in the New Hampshire primary. So if they give him the thing at the brokered convention, he'll spend a lot of his money, but it's not necessarily going to do very much. I mean, he already spent $300 million to get into third place, already in third place, and he's going to have to spend a lot more. And Trump is going to mock him, and he's going to take him down in the debates, and you'll wait and see. As North Carolina will stay in the lean column, Georgia will probably go lean, but I still think Trump could win it by 4. Again, Bloomberg might have that Atlanta suburb appeal, but again, will he do very well with black turnout? He'll do well with black voters despite that tape, but black turnout's another question. He might have money, but I mean, Hillary Clinton had a lot of money, and she didn't really do that well in the turnout battle. And besides, I mean, Trump will make up for whatever turnout gains Bloomberg makes in black support. So Trump is going to do whatever he can do to win the state of Georgia and North Carolina, even if it is in the lean column. Ohio will go in the likely column. Ohio is now Donald Trump country, no doubt about it, and he will win Pennsylvania again. Honestly, the Philadelphia suburbs might get a little closer because Bloomberg's going to do everything he could do to spend. It might those might tilt down, but Trump will do better. He'll make it up with Western Pennsylvania. He'll win the state again. Turnout was up very high in 2016 in Pennsylvania, and Donald Trump still won. Donald Trump is going to do everything he can do to get his people to come out and vote for him in Pennsylvania. Bloomberg, not necessarily so much. Again, Trump has a lot to hammer him on negative favorable rating. I could see it very well adding up to be a 2016 type election. And Trump could very well add a couple states, as we'll talk about here. But moving forward, as for the state of Florida, I definitely think it's Trump's home state. Bloomberg might have a little bit of appeal. I mean, he is Jewish. There's a lot of old Jewish people in Florida. But at the same time, I definitely think that Florida is going to still probably lean in Trump's column. I think he's going to win it by over 2 points. The panhandle will come out more for Trump. The Cuban vote, Trump has more of a stronghold on. I think they're going to benefit Trump when it's all said and done. And look at this, guys. Trump is just one state away from 270. That state's going to be Iowa. Donald Trump is going to win it in the likely column, probably call it around 1030 or so. And the state of Wisconsin, that's another state Donald Trump is going to have a very good chance to win. Donald Trump could very well go into Wisconsin, and he's got that rural support, not a lot of maxed out areas in Wisconsin to boot, and that's really going to help him go out there and win the state of Wisconsin against a New York elitist like Bloomberg, because make no mistake, yeah, Trump's a New York billionaire, but he's a blue-collar billionaire. I mean, he worked with the people at the bottom. He's worked with the people at the top. He knows how to talk to people. And the left's like saying, oh, it's at a third-grade level or something. Well, no, that's called connecting with the average American. And you talking like this and patronizing people, ordinary Americans, is why you keep losing every election, especially in my home state of Michigan, which will tilt to Donald Trump in this case, and John James is going to come away with a big victory in the Senate race. So as for Nebraska's second, that one will lean in Trump's column. The state of Minnesota, Bloomberg is going to be cancerous for the Bernie bros, and that is going to flip Minnesota into the Trump column. and that is going to end its streak of voting Democrat since 1972 to now. It is going to flip into the Republican column. As for the state of New Mexico, I think Bloomberg's going to win that state likely. However, Colorado is going to be very, very close because there's a lot of Bernie bros there. And Bloomberg, I mean, this guy wanted to tax soda. Trump might not be perfect for weed issues, but this guy's taxing soda over here, taking guns. Colorado, the Southwest might, be a little bit Democrat skewed, but it still has a lot of libertarian roots on a lot of things. And Bloomberg is not going to be very good for that type of voter to turn out. So at the end of the day, I definitely see Colorado tilting or leaning in the Democrat column. Might get a little closer than last time. Same thing with New Mexico. Actually, we'll make a correction on New Mexico. We'll make it tilt, or we'll make it lean blue. But it's going to lean by 4 points. It's not going to lean by as much as it did last time. Colorado is going to lean by 2. I think this is one of these election predictions where I think that Trump would do better in Colorado than New Mexico, as so many people have called me out on in the comment section saying that that's asinine. But New Mexico's got the best economic metrics in the nation. Trump has much more of a case to make for it, and he's going to Colorado next week or so, and he's going to make a case for that too. I hope he wins every state he can, don't get me wrong, but I got to be a realist here. And Colorado is trending away from Republicans in recent elections, so it is what it is. So as for the state of Arizona, Arizona is a state that Bloomberg could very well make a run for. But there's not a whole lot of Bernie bros there. It's a very moderate, state. They love rhinos. They really don't really like people that are to the right of rhinos, or just not necessarily to the right of rhinos, because some rhinos are to the far right on economic issues. But people that are populist, they're really not tuned into that. So Bloomberg has appeal because Bloomberg was a rhino. But I think at the end of the day, Donald Trump is still going to come across as the incumbent Republican with a strong economy, and that's going to help out Phoenix. He'll do maybe even a little bit better in Tucson. Again, people need to disregard the Senate race. They need to look at the governor's race as well, and I think Donald Trump is going to win the state of Arizona. And Nevada, actually, I think that would tilt to Bloomberg, because Bloomberg has that Nevada, Las Vegas suburban appeal. He can run those ads in Vegas. Trump will make a play for it. It might get a little bit closer, but I think that the Bernie bro effect's not going to play a role there. It will play a role in Oregon, however, but Trump won't win the state. It's still going to go for Bloomberg by 7 or 8 points, and that's going to put it in the likely blue column. So the electoral map does change a little bit, but Donald Trump will still reign supreme. He will still win this election most likely, no matter what, especially after a divisive brokered convention that we very well could see. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and hit the subscribe button, and make sure you have the notification bell turned on so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media, donate to the Patreon, join the subreddit, join the Discord, links in description. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.